Good morning, students. Let's start with a new chapter today, direct and indirect speech. I have already posted one video on the same topic. Here I've got the same topic. I'll be explaining it a little more. Okay, now understand one thing very important that you should know is direct and indirect is one of your most important chapters. You will have this topic in your senior classes as well. So please learn it nicely. Go through all the rules. The best thing that you can do is learn them. There's no other way. Right? So you need to learn your rules so that you remember the topic very well. So let's start with direct and indirect speech. It is chapter 33, page number 189 in your book. Right? Now what is a direct speech? For example, if I'm talking to my student and I say, get out of my class or just shut up. So when these words are spoken, I'm directly telling it to the person. So that is the direct speech. But when he goes and tells the same thing to his friend, it becomes an indirect speech. For example, see, I have an example here. See the direct, he said, I am busy now. Now you can see that there are punctuation marks, and of course, the way it is written, you can make out that it is the direct speech. Now, the best way to make out whether it's indirect or direct is the punctuation marks, right? Now, see the indirect speech. He said that. Now, when you remove the comma, you will add a conjunction that. Now, you have to say what he said. So, he said that he. See here, comma, that. I will change to he. Am busy, was busy. You will take care of the tenses as well. There's a whole table and I'll help you with that. Now we'll change to then. At that time, not now. Okay. So direct is here and this is your indirect speech. So this is how you'll be changing it. First, you've removed all the punctuation marks. You've changed the tense and then of course, you have changed the time as well. So please understand that. Okay, I've given it here. The first thing that you need to keep in mind is the inverted commas. If it is in the direct speech, you have to put inverted commas, comma, of course, all the punctuation marks. If it is a question, I need a question mark. If it's an exclamatory sentence, then of course an exclamatory mark. You have to take care of the tenses as well. And if it's an interrogative, imperative, exclamatory, all the three, you'll be changing it into a statement. A simple statement without any punctuation marks when you're changing it into indirect. Okay, so let's continue with the chapter here. See, note the following points. Come down on the same page. The actual words of the speaker are put within the inverted commas. So what are the actual words? These. So you'll put it where? In the inverted commas. The first word of the reported speech begins with a capital letter. Very, very important points, okay, that you need to remember. First was your punctuation marks, right? Second is the capital letter. You have to make sure that you start with a capital letter, right? The reported speech is separated by a comma from the reporting verb. Now this is the reporting verb and you have to separate the actual speech from the verb with the help of a comma. Is that clear? So first is your inverted comma, second capital letter, third your comma. Now let's continue. This was if you're talking about direct speech. Now come down to indirect speech. Let's see. First, inverted commas are not used. You don't see any inverted comma here, right? That's the basic rule to remember. Please students, I've seen students changing a sentence from direct to indirect, and even in the indirect, they like putting inverted commas. No. In the indirect speech, you do not use any punctuation marks like the inverted commas or your question marks or exclamatory marks. Is that clear? Now see here, there is no punctuation marks, no inverted commas, no comma. This comma will change into a conjunction that. See, the comma separating the reporting verb from the reported speech is removed. We will remove the comma as well. The tense of the reporting verb is never changed. Now the tense of this is the reporting verb, right? So you will not be changing the tense of it. He said will be wrong. It has to be he said, the same. It will remain same. You'll not change it. Then let's move ahead. The question mark and the mark of exclamation are not used. You just cannot put a question mark at the end of an indirect speech or an exclamatory mark. No. Interrogative, imperative, exclamatory sentences are put as statement. So you will use them or change them into statements, simple statements. Okay. You will not be putting any question mark, punctuation mark, nothing. Now turn to page 190. Change of tenses. Now this is the part that you need to learn and remember. What about the tense? Now that was the basic, your punctuation marks and removal of them. Now you have very important thing that you need to remember, tenses. Is that clear? Now rule number 1 says in your book, if the reporting verb is in the present or future tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech is not changed at all. Give me a minute. I'll help you with that. Now see this example here. You can see direct. He says, I am ready. Now this is in the present tense. So what he says, I am ready. The first one is in the direct speech. Let's see the second one. He says, I hope you remember that we do not change the tense of the reporting verb. So it remains, he says, comma will change to that. Sorry. Will change to that. He is ready. So what he said? That he is ready. Same tense. We haven't changed the tense of it. So this is what you need to remember. Rule number 1 is easy and it says here that if the reporting verb, this one, this is your reporting verb, if it is in present or future tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech. So the tense here in the reported speech will remain same. For example, if we change it to he will say, comma, I am ready, then it will be he will say that he is ready. So we can put will to show future tense and we can just leave it he says, right? So if there's a future tense or the present tense, then we do not change anything here. But here we are talking about the tense here. Reporting verbs that reports. What is a reporting verb? That reports that this action took place. Right? See the examples given here. He says, I was ready. He says that he was ready. So maybe it's a past tense, but it says, so the reporting verb is says. See the third one, he will say, I am ready. He will say that he is ready. So in the inverted commas part, you can see that the tense is not changed. Rule number 1 is very important. You can mark it. Now let's move to rule number 2. If the reporting verb is in the past tense, like he said, you remember the sentence before this? The tense of the verb in the reported speech is changed into one of the forms of the past tense as follows. In my own words, if this reporting verb is in the past tense, then you will change here. Here you will make a change, you will change it in the past tense. Right? One of the forms of the past tense. You remember 4 forms? Simple, continuous, perfect, present perfect. Perfect continuous, I'm sorry, 4th one. So that will be changed. So let's see how. Give me a minute. Now see here, we have this rule. It says here, for example, what you need to learn is that simple present in the direct speech will turn to simple past in the indirect speech. Right? So we have a whole table that you need to learn. Simple present becomes simple past, present continuous becomes past continuous, present perfect becomes past perfect, simple past becomes past perfect, then past continuous becomes past perfect continuous. That is how. This is what you need to learn. how you'll be changing the tense. See, till the time it is in the present or future tense, you don't have to worry. But the moment it turns into the past tense, you have to learn this table to remember what you'll be turning it into. Right? Now see here, the first sentence, a simple present becomes a simple past. He said, I write a letter. He said that he wrote a letter. So simple past. Present continuous becomes past continuous. He said, I am writing a letter. Indirect, he said that he was writing a letter. Present perfect becomes past perfect. He said, I have written a letter. He said that he had written a letter. Perfect, right? A simple past becomes a past perfect. He said, I wrote a letter. He said that he had written a letter. A past continuous becomes past perfect continuous. He said, I was writing a letter. He said that he had been writing a letter. A past perfect and a past perfect continuous remains unchanged. Now, if you see that in the sentence it is past perfect or past perfect continuous, then you'll not be changing it. He said the flood had destroyed their fields. He said that the flood had destroyed their fields. He said Amina had been singing. He said that Amina had been singing. So past perfect and past perfect continuous will not change even when they are turned from direct to indirect. Unchanged, please. Will changes into would, shall into should, or would, can into could, and may into might. This is what you need to remember. Is that clear? Suppose it is in the direct here, I can, in the here it will become indirect, in the indirect it will become I could, right? I will, I would, I shall, I should. So you have to remember this, okay? He said, I will write a letter. He said that he would write a letter. So this is how you will remember it. Now see, rule number 3, page 191. So under rule number 2, you have a whole table that you need to learn. If you have seen my other presentation, you would have seen a table, right? I have explained that table. If you want, I can post that video as well. So you'll have the table and the rules clearly written in it, right? Now rule number 3 says, if the reported speech expresses some universal truth, we already know if it's a universal truth or if it's a habitual fact, then we do not change any tense, right? For example, he said 2 and 3 make 5. So indirect, he said that 2 and 3 make 5. We are not changing. Suppose this is the universal fact, then when we are changing it, we will not change the tense, right? He said man is mortal. He said that man is mortal. So nothing is changed. Universal truth or habitual actions. He said, I go to the temple every Tuesday. So it's what? It's a habit. So he said that he goes to the temple every Tuesday. No tense is changed. He said, I am an early riser. He said that he is an early riser. Tell or say. Now this table is very important. When we mention the person spoken to, we use tell. For example, if we are talking about one more person that I told her, that means there's another person in there, then we use tell. For example, Vincent's father told him not to be late. Beena's boss told her that she could leave early. Say. When we do not mention the person spoken to, we use say. Frida wanted to say a few words. What did you say? Got it? Now come to the rule number 4. In the reported speech, the words expressing nearness of time or place are changed into words showing distance. Very important rule, right? That is, for example, if it is now, it becomes then. This becomes that, here, there, these, those. Ago becomes before, come, go, today, that day, yesterday, the previous day. So you'll have to learn this table. Is that clear to remember the time? Hence, thence, hither, thither, thus becomes so, tonight becomes that night, last night becomes the previous night, tomorrow becomes the next day. So you'll have to learn this table, okay? Then only you'll understand how to change it. Now see, they've given some examples under it. He said it is raining now. He said that it was raining then. Okay? We've changed now to then. He said last night I met my friend. He said that he had met his friend the previous night. Last night will change to previous night. He said, I'm glad to be here this evening. He said that he was glad to be there that evening. Right? Here and this will change to there and that. Now, if this, now, here, etc. refers to the same object, time or place, then no change is made in the adjective or adverb in the indirect speech. Now, if these words like this, now, here, it is referring to an object, for example, if it's referring to the same object. He said, I will do it now or never. Now or never. So you'll not change time here. He said that he would do it now or never. He said, my book is here. She said that her book was here. This is the house I like. He said that this was the house he liked. Okay, not that was the house that he liked. Wrong. This is the house that he liked. Now come down, we have rule number 5. Let's see what it says. The noun and pronoun is vocative case are turned into object in indirect speech. Oh, this is very important. He said I. I will change to he. You have to remember that noun and pronoun part. For example, the teacher said, Arun, you should try hard. The teacher told Arun that he should try hard. If the person addressed reports the speech, the second person is changed to the first person. He said to me, you are a clever boy. He told me that I was a clever boy. If the pronoun he or she stands for different persons, the name of the person referred to are inserted in brackets after the pronouns. Besides, noun could be used instead of pronouns wherever possible as. Arun said to Amit, I want your pen. Arun told Amit that he wanted his pen. Right? So, understand it here. You have to go through all these rules once to understand them. Please understand, we have 5 rules here. And after that, we have the different ways of changing the sentences. For example, we'll change assertive sentences, we'll change the pronoun, imperative sentences, interrogative and exclamatory sentences. So we'll follow the same rules. I want you to go through the rules very nicely and clearly. See, learn the rules if you can. Remember rule number 1, past and present or future, then no tense is changed. If it is in the past tense, there's a whole table that you need to learn. The punctuation marks, then you have everything that you need to go through. So just learn these 5 rules, then only we'll be able to proceed. It will become easier for you to remember. Okay, so if you have any doubts, you can just jot them somewhere and do let me know in your Google Classrooms. Okay, so please go through these rules. We'll continue with it in the next video. And if you have any doubts, do let me know. Regarding the exercises that you need to copy, I'll let you know. And there's a PDF that I'll be forwarding so that you have all the answers with you. Right? Okay, that is it. Just go through the tenses. Just go through the rules, please. Right, this is the last chapter. I want you all to go through the rules so that you remember. You learn it and you don't forget it. Right? The rest I'll discuss in the next video. We'll continue with page number 192, assertive sentences. Right, so that is it now. Thank you.